Welcome back for another video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump right into it. In this video, we're just going to go and backtest the previous week of July 7th through July 11th, and I'll just kind of talk through my strategy and give you these quick points of what we're using to base these moves off of. So the quick moves will be just based off a 15-minute liquidity sweep during New York session, looking for the AMD model, so accumulation, manipulation, and distribution model in the 1 minute time frame, and then just targeting opposite side swing point for our take profits. It takes a little while. I think it takes after session's over in London session to go through. We just hold your trade and trust the trade, and it goes through into Thursday. We can see that was a good amount of percentage as well. I believe it was 6.3%. So good return there. Then going back to Thursday, I'll rewind it some so we can see the swing points in the 15-minute. So on Thursday, it gives us a few liquidity points right here with the swing low here and a swing high here. And then we're seeing the sell side sweep liquidity here. So now we're looking for buys. So sweeps this liquidity, forms this AMD model here with these candles, manipulates to the downside, then distributes to the upside, leaves this good big imbalance gap right there. Entering at this imbalance gap, hold the trade. And in this case, the swing high wasn't very high for this target, or would never return a good risk to reward. So in this case, I would have used my fib extensions and went for 2.5 standard deviations here, and ended up hitting take profit. And then on to the next trade. So after that, it swept buy side liquidity there. So now you're looking for a sell, and we get a sell later on in the New York session. Not during an optimal time because it's during the lunch hour, but still happened. Took it, valid loss. Not sure where the accumulations are marked up here, but would have been a little sleep there. If not, you can still move it down. Some sweep here, breaks to the downside, leaves a lot of imbalance, but it ends up being a valid loss. So it's okay. Next move is formed another swing point for the 15-minute here, and then it ends up sweeping, and we're looking for another sell at this point. And we end up getting a little structure here, even though this isn't the cleanest at all here, but it kind of depends on if you want to take this one. It's a little more risky, just how it's formed, but you get to take this sell here, which would still be a loss, or there's another sell that kind of formed in this area here with this accumulation zone, and then returning back to this imbalance and selling off. So this is definitely not the most ideal move here, but it ends up being a valid loss if you want to take it. And I'd be done for the day because I take 3 trades a day at most. So I'd be done at that day, and then if you wanted to keep going though, you would have got one here. And you could have entered in right here at this imbalance and caught the whole move down, and would have been a pretty solid trade. Probably would have targeted down here. So a little over 4.3%. So yeah, that's all for Thursday. Still would have been break-even day probably, because you did win the first trade. But going back to Friday, see session started. You get a sell side sweep liquidity here at the session open. So we're looking for buys. Looks like nothing formed based on, nothing really formed based off this range. I mean, you could kind of say this is some accumulation in these candles here, but you don't really have any imbalance to enter in at. So nothing formed yet from this. So then we get a buy side sweep liquidity looking for sells at this point. Sweep liquidity there, so looking for sells down. And we get some accumulation here, manipulates to the upside, distributes to the downside with imbalance there. And yeah, it looks like this one might have shifted after I marked it up, but let's see. Maybe, it didn't tag in. So okay, there's no imbalance here between these two candles, so I probably set it my entry up there. Take profit would have been probably down here. I have to go back to the 15-minute and verify. But yeah, it looks like it tagged in up here because there's no imbalance here. Then it's not tagged in, I didn't count it. So once it's tagged in, it just runs a hit stop loss anyway, so valid loss. Then it forms more liquidity with this swing point, sweeps it up again after that loss, and then we look for another sell. Looks like nothing formed. It's going to go over here and form for us, so we can just exit that out and go to it. It's pretty much live time. So it sweeps this liquidity again, this buy side liquidity here, and then gives kind of 2 moves, just kind of depending on your preference. You kind of get a first move here. With this, you get accumulation here, manipulation, and slight distribution to the downside. Some pretty small imbalance here. It's just, it looks different on different brokers. So you could have entered in there, or you could have used this larger accumulation range here. Use this as a manipulation, and then this as the distribution. with this is your imbalance and then you kind of say this is your whole distribution leg. Comes back up and tags you in, and it kind of just drops down. You can target this 15-minute swing low over here, and ended up hitting a market up because it kind of gapped down, so you would have targeted this one here, and it went through. So overall, it's a pretty solid week. I'll count up the wins and losses. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins, and 6 losses. So we've been 7 and 13 on the week. It's over 50%, or 50% obviously, probably about 55%. But I'll go and record or add that up. So yeah, 53%. But with the risk to reward being so much higher, it's going to be a really profitable week. I'll add that up too. Put that here. And yeah, just assuming it was 1%, we're looking at 29.66 risk to reward. So yeah, really, really good week, especially with just winning, 7 out of 13, not the highest win percentage, but it's really good. You had these pretty big trades like this 7.81% trade or the 10% trade earlier in the week. So yeah, it's a really good week. But I'll go ahead and wrap the video up here, you guys. I just wanted to kind of backtest for the last week and prepare for this upcoming trading week, get my eyes dialed in. And yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Join Market Mentors, link is in the description, and I'll see you guys there.